Everybody has something they are dealing with and something that is long-term.
Now, when it comes to mental health,
Yeah.
what would you advise a person who is going through such episodes, especially that's connected to chronic illnesses? How should they cope?
If you just find the courage to change how you're thinking about the situation, you start to resolve things. Hi, my name is Caroline Gaithuma. I'm a transformation coach, and this is Crimson Courage.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is a transformative life coach?
Well, it's a transformation life coach is a coach who helps you through any transition.
Okay.
A coach who helps you to move from one level of your life to another, from one phase of your life to another, from one experience to another, in the best way possible. Because in life, we are always moving through phases.
Yeah.
We are always moving from one experience to another. But how do we do that? Do we live this experience and come to this experience empowered or disempowered?
Yeah.
Do we live with knowledge or without? Do we live with stronger relationships or not? So the transformation coach helps you to tap into the resource of the experience, the potential of the experience, so that you can use that to move to the next level of your life. And it doesn't matter which area of your life. It could be your health, your finances, your relationship, your spirituality, as long as there's a transition from this place to this place. Because what is really changing is how you see life. You know, you at the core do not change because you are a soul. You're an eternal being. You do not change. But your perspective about life, about yourself, about others, about your situation changes. Now, the question is, does it change for the better or for the worse? Yeah. And that's what we are here for.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually saw something on that this week where Michelle Obama was talking about turning 60.
Yeah.
And she was going through therapy for the new phase of her life. So I think this is kind of related to that, whereby now you are preparing for a new stage in your life.
Yes, exactly.
So I thought if someone can go to therapy for a new stage in their life, like whereby they are turning into like a new age, that means that even for persons with chronic illnesses, for example, sickle cell anemia, we really need to be doing the work when it comes to our mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really about, you see, a lot of times when we talk about mental health and mental wellness, most of the time we have this perception like we are not supposed to be going through difficulty, or how is it that we can avoid difficulty in life, you know? But mental wellness and mental health is about building resilience. Building resilience, because you have no idea what's coming around that bend in life. You don't know what's coming at you 5 years from now. Anything can happen, you know? And it's not just about something that you have caused as a result of your actions. Something like a natural disaster can happen. Something like a political something can happen. You know, you don't know. You see how COVID found us.
Yes.
You know, everyone was just doing life, and then suddenly there's lockdowns, there's no income. It wasn't your fault, but it happened to you. So what we do with mental wellness and mental health is helping people build resilience so that you build your own capacity, so that no matter what you go through in life, you have got your own back.
Yeah.
You can rise up from any challenge, and you know how to do that because you have your own individual, unique toolkit for getting back up from a fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've just reminded me something. I once told a friend during COVID that living with a chronic illness, in particular like sickle cell anemia, is kind of like what people were facing during COVID. You know, that panic, that unsurety, having to deal with a certain health condition or problem that might bring complications that you cannot control. And also you've mentioned that, you know, life is uncertain. You can't know, maybe there can be an emergency or something like that. But for persons living with chronic illnesses, you kind of feel like you can know. something might happen.
Yeah.
At some point, you will know maybe a sickle cell crisis will come, or at some point, you will know that you will fall ill or something like that. So, how do you get out of that loop of fear when already you have been told that there's a certain fact in your life you're dealing with, let's say, even cancer? Sometimes it can happen. Okay, I like to view it differently, whereby you're diagnosed with a condition later on in your life, and a person who was born with a certain condition, I feel like the psychology is kind of different. So, imagine that no matter what you do, however you want to change yourself or view yourself or even try to motivate yourself, there's still that fact, behind there that you've been told you have a certain condition. How do you get that out of that loop of feeling like, things are not going to be okay? Yes.
The first thing is acceptance, because as you're rightfully putting it, it's a fact, right?
Yes.
It's a fact. The diagnosis is here. The science is saying this, and all the measurements are saying this. So you first have to accept that. Accepting is not passive. Accepting is not giving up. Accepting is just accepting. It's you stop the internal fighting of I wish it didn't have to be like this. I wish, I hope, It's just sit with it for a moment, and it's a painful fact, but it still is the reality of the moment. Number 2, no matter what experience you go through, it does not define you. It's an experience you're going through. It's not who you are.
Okay.
There's a difference. Because if you take on an experience you're going through as an identity, then you change your whole psychology. You change your whole psychology to be about, it's like you start to see yourself as nothing else than your experience. And you could be so many other things. You could be a creative. You could be, a fun person. You could be the life of the party. You could be who is going through sickle cell anemia.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you do not take an experience and use it and treat it as an identity.
Okay.
That's not who you are. Number 3, you need to be alive to the fact of what else does this mean?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. This is my diagnosis. What comes up for me? What am I really afraid of? Even with terminal illness, it's not the illness that scares us. You need to go deep down and understand yourself. What are you really afraid of? People are afraid of death. People are afraid of pain. People are afraid of being poor as a result of the illness. People are afraid of being rejected as a result. So you have to go past just the illness is a cover, but then what else does it mean for you, so that you can start to dig into what it means and start to process that, because that is why you go for therapy. You go for therapy to process the meanings that you have, so that you can reframe, So if you have the fear of death, for example, how does it show up for you? Why are you really afraid about it? Is it because you feel like you have no legacy? Is it because you don't know where you're going after you die? Is it because you interrogate those things? Right? If you're afraid of pain, then you need to ask yourself, how can I relate with pain? Because it's going to be inevitable as a result of this illness. What can I do to ease my own pain? And one thing that I've realized is that there's usually physical pain and mental pain. And the mental pain makes the physical pain worse. When you start to pull yourself away from the physical pain you're feeling, you're rejecting it, you're wishing, it's like you're trying to run away, wiggle your way away from it, it becomes more. Right? So there's a way you can now start to think, okay, since pain is inevitable, I need to start practicing things that will help me ease the pain. Even though I'm getting medication for it, whatever, what else can I do so that I expand my capacity to be with pain? Maybe it's learning how to breathe. Maybe it's learning how to do a pain meditation. And, there are things you can learn. Am I afraid of the financial obligation? Yes. What can I do? Maybe I'm afraid of asking for help. Maybe I'm afraid of looking like I'm needy. Those are things now you start to explore, and you start to have this rich experience that starts to grow you and increase your capacity, as opposed to stifling you and disempowering you.
Okay.
And that starts to help you change how you think about the whole experience. So it's not just a negative experience. You can see it as an experience of growth, because guess what? Other people don't have a terminal illness, but there are people who have a business that they're really struggling to pull up. They might not be going through physical pain, but they're going through financial pain. They're going through emotional pain. Everybody has something they're dealing with, and something that is long-term. Other people is an addiction they're dealing with. Other people is family issues they're dealing with. Other people, it's their spirituality. Everybody has something they're struggling with. It's like we all have a ring, and we are fighting in that ring. So you need to also see yourself as not different from everyone else. It's just your struggle.
Yeah.
That's different. And you need to stop putting struggles in a hierarchy. That yako tu ni pesa, unaweza pata. Yangu ni, this illness that I can't do anything about. No. Because if you're in that situation, maybe you're feeling possibly the same set of emotions, You might not be feeling physical pain like the other person, but the emotions that are running through your system are probably almost the same. And maybe they are going through us. Who knows? There's no way of measuring. So if there's no way of measuring this, there shouldn't be a way of comparing. So see yourself as somebody who's just going through life, and your struggle just happens to be physical and health.
Yeah.
And so that you can minimize, because your whatever you make big in your mind becomes as big as you make it. Whatever you minimize in your mind becomes as small as you think it. So the point is, and this is the goal for mental wellness and mental health, that I want to feel at peace with myself. Even if I'm not feeling at ease in my body, am I at peace? That's the whole point. And what is the mindset that can bring you the peace? What is the mindset that can help you get the best out of your life? Because guess what? That's the life you got.
That's true.
That's the life you got.
Life,
yeah. If you keep thinking and wishing that you got another life, this one you have will pass you by, and you won't have done anything with it. And that will be your loss.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to find how to make the best with what we have.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about, mental health triggering the pain and making it worse.
Yes.
However, a common thing that comes with chronic illnesses is pain.
Yeah.
And pain does something to the brain.
Yeah.
Whereby if you keep getting a certain pain, over time you become numb to it.
Yeah.
Now the pain has done something to the brain, whereby now, it's a painful episode that goes on for a number of days. That's kind of like torture. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is not someone else torturing you. It's your body that is taking you through this.
Yeah.
So how you come out of it, definitely, you're not the same person was, when that painful episode or sickle cell crisis started.
Yeah.
So this is a common thing the persons with chronic illnesses face. Now, when it comes to mental health, what would you advise a person who is going through such episodes, especially that's connected to chronic illnesses? How should they cope?
So there's what is physical, and probably, the doctor is sorting you out in one way or another. And as you're saying, there's a way pain impacts the brain, and there's a way it impacts your psychology. And when it comes to mental wellness, for somebody with chronic pain, for example, is to realize the way we add another layer of pain. You see, so there's a physical pain that's happening. Let's say my knees are chronically in pain, and it's really excruciating pain. There's that pain, and then there's what I'm telling myself about the pain. This is suffering. This is torture. This is what. So the story you tell yourself about the pain, that is on you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's you can change the story. That's what I'm trying to say. If it is written that you're going to be with that pain until the day you die, does that mean that there's no other story you will ever tell? That's the question you must contend with. And you must decide that there's a way you're going to transform that experience, even if the experience itself does not transform. You're going to transform what you say and what you think about that experience, right? So one of the ways, I remember sometime last year, but I was not in the country. I came back. I don't know what happened, whether it was a change of whatever diet, I don't know. But I got very serious pain. My whole gut blocked. So I could not use the bathroom for a week.
Wow.
And so it was really uncomfortable and it was really painful. At some point, it was really excruciating pain. And I remember noticing how my mind is around the pain. So my mind is trying to find a way out of the pain. As you're trying to find a way out of the pain, you're adding another layer of suffering.
Yes.
You know, and you know that, I'm sure you know that. It's like your mind is trying to, where can I run? You're in your body, it's all painful. There's nowhere to run. So it's like you can't settle you don't want to be in this painful body. So the first thing I did was like, I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
I just have my body. So let me just be in my body. And then the second thing was to introduce the idea that my body is suffering. Why am I leaving it when it's suffering?
Okay.
And I need it. It's like, am I a user? Am I only nice to my body and present to my body when it's feeling nice and it's acting the way I want it to? What kind of a friend am I to my body? You know, if it was a friend, what would I do? Would I run out of the room because they're in pain? I would sit with them. Even if I can't help them because I can't take their pain away, can I hold the space? Can I sit with them in the pain?
What if you feel like your body is not your friend?
That's
this
the
is
first
what you
place.
were born with.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's not your friend. It's not able to carry you through, the norms of every day. Maybe you've woken up, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
You're in pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the first place you start. You need to start befriending your body. Because if it were not your friend, you would not be here. It is your friend in some way. It's just suffering.
Yeah.
You understand? It's trying to be the best friend. It's like you're sick. You're not present with your friends the way you would like to be because sometimes you're incapacitated, you're sick. Sometimes you can't handle spaces. Sometimes you can't handle people. Sometimes you can't travel to them. But does that mean you're a bad friend? No. Exactly.
No, it means you're just showing up
Exactly.
according to the level that you can.
Exactly. It's the same thing with your body. If you're sick, just know that your body is trying its best. That's why every morning you wake up, the heart is beating, giving its best. There's another part of the body that's struggling. It's in pain. So that's the relationship you need to have with your body. Because when you begin to soften to your body, you begin to say, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because you are the soul that is inhabiting the body. You as a soul are not in pain. You as a soul are complete. You're not sick. But the body is the one that's ailing. So sometimes remember that and speak to the body as the soul and say, I know you've got this and this broken. I know you're struggling. I will not leave you.
Yeah.
I'll stay here. I'll be with you. You need to do whatever it takes. Fight however you need to fight to get better. I'm not going to leave you. So that you can soften yourself, soften your attention to your body. That removes a huge chunk of the pain.
Yeah.
Because part of the reason your body sometimes is very aggressive, it's because you're aggressive towards it, you're not soft towards it, and you're not present in it because you're running away because you're in pain.
Yeah, maybe you're not doing the things you're supposed to be
Exactly.
doing. Maybe you're not eating the correct diet.
Yeah.
Or drinking enough water.
Yeah.
Or Yes.
And even if you do, you're just doing it so that it can function properly. You're not giving it that, the love.
Yeah.
And the love is not just in what you do, it's in how you think about it, it's in how you treat it internally. So that removes a lot of pain. I remember there's a time I went for a silent retreat, and part of the program was to sit in meditation for 2 hours without moving.
Okay.
And the body brings up a lot of pain when you pay attention to it, because it's a bag of pain. Like we just store the pain, we ignore it, we distract ourselves with food, with sex, with TV, with alcohol, with what. So when you sit still with it, it's like, oh, she's home. Let's tell her all about what she's been doing to us. And all the pain starts coming, all the pain. And you can't move for 2 hours. At some point, the pain was so excruciating. I was feeling like it's somebody doing this to my bone.
Was it like a seated meditation?
Yes,
or
it was
lying
a
down?
seated meditation. Okay. And so I could feel the pain was like gnawing at the bone. And I said, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm not moving my body so that I don't feel the pain. I'm not running away from the pain. I'm going to sit here with the pain. And I'm going to actually take my attention to where the pain is.
Okay.
So I took my attention to where the pain is, and I could feel the pain. So then I started to experience the pain like a sensation. So I could feel it's moving, it's expanding, it's contracting, it's generating heat. So I started to study the pain. Like I'm just quiet, I'm feeling all the pain, and I'm studying the pain. Yeah. So I can feel it's going deep, it's coming up, it's getting hot and hot, it's expanding, it's contracting. And then the more I took my attention to the center of the pain, suddenly it stopped becoming pain. It was just a vibration. It was just a sensation like that. So I realized a huge part of the pain was not in the body, was in my mind, in the story that I was telling myself. So I'm not saying that is what would happen to a lot of people, but I'm just saying start to change your relationship with pain. Yeah. If you have a chronic illness, start to change your relationship with your body, and that will start opening a new way of relating to your situation that will give you a better experience, that will not cause you to get into depression and to generate a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for even pain, for example, when it comes to sickle cell, one of the triggers of pain is stress.
Yeah.
And, that says a lot, even with how you've related pain and making it disappear and all of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find that you're in a lot of, depressing thoughts. Because I saw a certain study where people were being asked between depression and maybe breaking your leg, what would you choose? Like people who've gone through like serious depression, they're like the breaking of the leg.
Yeah.
I'd rather like my knee, I heal my knee again, or I get arthritic pain rather than going through depression. So mental health actually does a lot in the survival of the physical body.
Exactly. It's really connected, because and you see, the worst thing about the mental issues is because they're invisible.
Yeah.
They're bypassed because even you yourself, sometimes you can't articulate what you're feeling and how you're feeling. So you don't know where to start in resolving it. You see, if it's a leg, I know which doctor to go to. I know what to do. I know it's something that can be seen. At least people have compassion because they can see. But mental illness, people will start thinking you're lazy, you're this, you're that. So that's why it's very difficult. But it doesn't make it less painful. It's just that with mental illness, the pain is emotional.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to describe emotional pain. It's hard to put it on the table and say, I'm feeling emotional pain. You never hear people saying that. They'll just say, I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like going. I'm feeling down. Sometimes, I'm in a mood. But that's emotional pain.
Yeah.
But the beauty about it is that sometimes you can resolve it faster than a physical ailment, because if you just find the courage to change how you're thinking about the situation, you start to resolve things. because most of the stuff that brings us down is about how we think. But then the challenge is that it's really hard to change how we think, because we have identified with how we think. We say, this is who I am.
It starts with a certain emotion. Like, let's say sad. Then if you're sad for a while, it becomes a mood. Then if you're in that mood for a while, it becomes, that's your personality.
Exactly.
Then it becomes a habit.
And you see, when it becomes a mood, that's when we start defending it. When somebody starts, pointing it out, you're like, no, it's this that happened and this happened and this. And it's almost like, especially when it comes to like chronic illnesses, a lot of people feel as if they don't have permission to be happy. It's like there's a life you cannot live because you have this illness. And you hold yourself back and you tell yourself, because I have this illness. Sometimes it's not something you tell yourself consciously, but it's like, because I have this illness, I cannot be happy. And so I'm defending a certain mood, the mood for the disease, I cannot see myself apart from the illness because I've made it my identity. And so if I make it an identity comes with emotional patterns, it comes with thinking patterns, and therefore it comes with physical outcomes. So the outcomes of your life will be a result of the identity that you have taken on. And so I like to say it's good to have like support groups where people share experiences and whatever, but don't cross the line of identifying with it as an identity, because then you will start to lose sight of everything else that you are and you can be and you can dream of, because now you're committed to this one identity. And when your body embodies that identity, your mindset becomes of that identity, then you're going to start expecting pain, expecting death, So it's like you can't expand your mind beyond these confines of the identity. Because then, of course, you have researched about the illness and this is how it's going to be and this is how it is. So you need to find a way of getting support and relating with people who you are sharing the experience, but also expanding beyond that identity.
Even when it comes to support groups, definitely these are people who are experiencing what is familiar to you. You feel like they're part of a family, or at least they understand to a certain level. However, there's also this trauma that comes when you're within a support group, whereby you find your fellows, they're getting ill, getting hospitalized, a lot of deaths, and all of that. So how are you able to balance that when dealing with a support group? Because now you're looking at it like, is this thing that serious? So this could happen to me, whereby you're just talking to someone today, like 2 days ago, and then, you hear that maybe they fell ill and they're in hospital, or it's just like a kind of a repetitive pattern. This one is sick, maybe let's assist with maybe funds or whatever, or let's go visit them. Then next week it's another person, then the other week is another person, or this week someone has passed away, next month it's another person, unexpectedly. So how are you able to balance the support group to bring you that strength, that form of familiarity, and not to bring in that fear
to bring you down, even
of something that could happen? Yes.
I remember when I was coming out of mental illness, because I used to have serious depression, clinical depression. I was in a support group. And over time, it was very helpful because, people would encourage each other and everything. But then over time, I started to notice another pattern of, like so-and-so has committed suicide. This person is going through this, and this person is going through. And I started to notice how it's affecting me. Now, that's a personal thing. You need to weigh. You put the balance. How much of support is it giving and how much of bringing you down it's giving? Because sometimes you have to save yourself first before you save another person. And for me, the decision I made is I withdrew from the support groups, because I started to feel that now I'm getting sucked into this thing of like, it now became like a huge part of my life. Like, and especially with social media and WhatsApp groups, it's like it's in your face all the time. It's not like Kitambo, where support groups where you walk physically, you go there, you have your meetings, then you go back home to your other life, you meet other people who are okay, other people going through other experiences, and then next week you come and meet. Now it was a daily thing. It's like you see messages coming in with by the hour. So and so has locked themselves in the house. So and so has committed suicide. I was like, this is not helpful. Yeah, it's too much. It's bringing me back to where I'm trying to come out of, So it's really important for you to weigh to what extent is the support group supporting you. And it doesn't mean that the people in there are bad or whatever. It's just you checking your own experience. Like, is this environment supporting you? Is this environment causing you to have like a lower experience than you expected that you need? Because sometimes something can bring you down lower than you can bring yourself up. And, so that is a personal choice that you need to evaluate. But remember, you need to keep your eye on your own wellness. You're the first person who is responsible for your own emotional wellness. So you need to also learn how to get help, how to ask for help, and how to curate environments that are conducive for you. And it's like the way if you have a broken leg, there's a way you will walk into a room. Because you'll be looking at, can I jump over here? Do I need to ask somebody to remove the chair for me to pass? Like that. You do that with your mental wellness as well. You don't just walk into rooms as if you're okay and you're not okay. If you're not okay, you need to know, I can't walk into that room. I need this kind of environment. I need this kind of conversations. I don't need this kind of conversations. So take responsibility for your own mental wellness, even within the support groups. Yeah.
And then there's a group of people who are quite key to any person dealing with any kind of illness, but are always overlooked. This is the caregivers. Because the caregiver is with you every day.
Yeah.
They're going to hospital with you, they're making sure you're taking your medication. Probably even they have to do basic things for you, like maybe cooking for you and all of that. A caregiver can be anybody, your sister, your brother, a mom, a parent, and all of that. So this is a person that definitely their life has changed because of taking care of you or walking the journey with you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the mental health and wellness of caregivers, and how are we able to support them more?
I think the first thing is you have to see yourself as a caregiver, which means then that you have a different posture to life. It's like you're not just the way you are before this person got sick. There's something that has changed and you need to be cognizant of that within yourself. Ask yourself, what has changed as a result of this person getting sick and me being the one to take care of them? What has changed? How do I feel that I never used to feel before this? So that you can now start taking the steering wheel of your own mental health and taking charge. Sometime last year, I was a caregiver for my parents. Both of them were unwell at some point. I remember there's a time where I was like, my mom is having a procedure here, my dad is admitted upstairs, and I'm the one running around. And I remember one day, a client called me in a crisis.
Okay.
A client is in a crisis, my dad is upstairs, my mom is, chaos. And that's when I realized it's very easy to have a breakdown when you're a caregiver, if you don't keep your eye on your own health. First of all, caregivers don't even eat half of the times. It's like you're not thinking about yourself. So you feed the sick person, you do everything you don't think about yourself. So you need to remember that for you to even be well enough to take care of the person that you love and you're taking care of, you need to take care of yourself. And one of the ways is nutrition. You need to eat when you're supposed to eat. Don't think that eating and resting is selfish. Because again, sometimes we feel like you start thinking like, oh my gosh, everything should go to this person. If I try to take a little time by myself, I'm being selfish,
Yeah.
They need me, and just have a way. And what helps with caregivers is routine. Routine will help them create time for themselves, so that you can take a walk when the person sleeps.
Okay.
Take a walk if the person doesn't need you, like right there. Also create your own support system. Find somebody to come and relieve you. It's not just you who should take care of one person the whole 24/7.
Yeah.
Get help. Ask for help if you need, Sometimes you're doing a whole array of things. You're cleaning them, you're bathing them, you're driving them, you're giving them medicine, you're being their psychosocial support.
Yeah.
And then you don't have your own support. A caregiver needs their own caregiver. Yeah. So when you have your own caregiver, then you can have a place to debrief. What are the emotions that you are going through as you're taking care of this person? You have somebody to talk about with, take time to walk, get away from the situation. If you can get help, then go and do something else with your life. Go party,
Yeah.
Your life is not over. Go to the salon, go to the spa, go walk a dog or something. Like, just get yourself out of the situation, even mentally. Like, when you're not there and you've taken a break, be mentally where you are. Don't always be with this person, because then what happens with caregivers is they start to build resentment.
Yeah.
They start to feel a resentment that they are guilty about. So they are resentful that this person is sick, and they can't offload it on them because it's not their fault. And they can't communicate it, because how would you be resentful to someone who is sick? And now they get piling these emotions, and they themselves get sick. Yeah. So take care of yourself, make time for yourself, ask for help, and be present wherever it is that you have gone to relax. Be there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. This has been a wholesome conversation on mental health.
Yeah.
And how to deal with chronic illnesses, and also caregiver support.
Yeah.
So if there's someone who would love to get in touch with you, and even you to help them with transformative type of coaching, how would they get in touch?
So on my social media, look for Caroline Gaithuma on any platform. C Gaithuma is the handle on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Caroline Gaithuma on Facebook. And just drop me a DM. Yeah. I'll answer your question.
Asante sana.
Yeah, karibu, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'd love to have this conversation again and again.
Yes, I'm glad to be here again. Asante.